Hi everybody, so it's Monday evening. Welcome back to another week of meals on the Seesaw. It's a bit like that, you know, the time between Christmas and New Year when you have no idea what day it is. It's a little bit like that at the moment, except, I don't think, well, there's only a week of this and then we'll be back to normal, because who knows when we'll be back to normal. And so when you're at home all this, so I am working still. Tony's not, but I am. But obviously doing everything from home, so I'm around the house all day to sort of check in on Caleb with his schoolwork, and it means you can get dinner going a bit earlier and all that sort of thing, so it is certainly better. But I've chosen tonight to have something that kind of throws back to something I used to have when I was young. So when I was little, one of my favourite things to do in the autumn months was to go blackberry picking. So my mum's brother-in-law, my uncle, his dad owned a farm quite close to where I grew up, and all around the edges of the farm property were hedgerows full of brambles. So in the autumn we just used to go and pick all the blackberries, and then he had apple orchards as well. And to this day, apple and blackberry is my favourite pie filling. But obviously we'd get such a glut of fruit that my mum would think of other ways to use it. And so she always made fresh apple sauce when we had roast pork. But that time of the year she would add the blackberries in to make like an apple and blackberry sauce, and so this is sort of a take on that. So it's some pork fillet that I've just sliced, that's tenderloin in the States, that I've just sliced into thin slices, browned on either side for probably 2 or 3 minutes per side. Took that out of the pan, added in half a pint of chicken stock and a quarter pint of apple juice with a tablespoon of honey and some chopped fresh sage. I brought that up to a bubble and then added the pork back in and 2 peeled and sliced cooking apples. So again, in the States you'd want to use something like a Granny Smith for that. Put the lid on the pan, let it cook away for about 5 minutes, and then added in a small punnet of fresh blackberries. Put the lid back on, let it cook for 5 more minutes. And then I just stirred through probably 2 teaspoons of corn flour, which I just diluted in a little bit of water. Just stir that through to thicken up the sauce, so I've got this nice rich kind of pinkish reddish gravy with it, which is, you can see some pieces of apple there, there's also the blackberries through it somewhere. They're definitely in there, they're giving it that colour. So we're having that with mashed potatoes and some steamed vegetables to kick off our week. Hi everybody, so it is Tuesday evening, I think. Yep. Tuesday, Caleb?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. And tonight, I think just being sort of stuck at home like this, and I've just started, I don't know, it's made me quite nostalgic, thinking about sorts of things I used to have for dinners when I was young, the sorts of things my mum used to make. So as you know, yesterday I made the Blackberry and Apple Pork, which was a real kickback for me. And then this was something that my mum used to make quite often, which was a savoury crumble. So it's got some diced chicken, which I just cooked in the pan in a little bit of butter, and then to that I added a good couple of tablespoons of flour, and then I added half a pint of milk, along with about 250 to 300 grams of natural yogurt. Seasoned that all up, stirred through some blanched broccoli, peas and corn. So I had some frozen, I just covered them with boiling water just to kind of take the frozenness off of them, I guess. Stirred that through along with a really nice handful of grated cheddar cheese. And then the topping is 100 grams of plain flour, and I've rubbed through that 50 grams of butter. And then once that was all rubbed and like breadcrumby, I stirred in some paprika, some mustard powder and some cayenne pepper, along with about 30 grams of porridge oats to give it a crumbly top. So you can see in the pan there, it just does look like a crumble. So because I've got broccoli, sweet corn and peas in the crumble, I've just got some parsleyed butter potatoes on the side. They're sort of smashed, not mashed, but not whole. And that is our Tuesday night supper. Hi everybody, Wednesday evening, and we've got gammon for dinner tonight. So just the little gammon steaks with some little diced potatoes done in the actor fryer with some season oil on them. And then this is Caleb, so he's got steamed broccoli and cauliflower. But Tony and I have this bowl of deliciousness to put with ours. It's cauliflower and broccoli cheese. So I just steamed the cauliflower and broccoli along with Caleb's. I took some out, put into a casserole, I made a really simple white sauce, so just 1 tablespoon each of butter and flour, cooked together for a couple of minutes, then added half a pint of milk while I whisked it all together, and then put in a couple of good handfuls of grated cheese. I used mature cheddar, let that melt, added a little bit of mustard powder and a little bit of cayenne pepper. Poured that over the cauliflower and broccoli and sprinkled a little bit more cheese on the top before I put it under the grill. So that is our cauliflower and broccoli cheese. So we've got that with our gammon and diced potatoes, diced roast potatoes for our Wednesday night supper. Hi everybody, so it's Thursday evening. We've just been outside beating our pots and pans and clapping for the NHS, and we're now eating dinner. Or Caleb's already had his. He had his earlier because he was eating something different to us tonight. So these are chilli pancakes. So I've made up a pan of chilli, which I've just used a carton of mince, some chopped onion, a bit of garlic, a can of baked beans and a can of kidney beans and a can of chopped tomatoes, a chopped yellow pepper and a couple of good teaspoons of chili powder, and just cooked that all together for about 15-20 minutes until it was cooked through. Then I've made up some pancakes using our normal pancake batter, which is 110 grams plain flour with 1 egg and 300 mils of milk. Make it into a batter, use some melted butter, and I've made it in, I've got one cooking there. Look, Caleb wants to have some of the batter that's left for a normal pancake. I've just made them in the small pan. You could do them bigger, but I quite like this size. They work perfectly in this little pan. We have almost perfect pancakes every time we make them. Without any problems. So I know that they cook well in that pan, so I decided to keep it with the small ones. And when they were done, I've just filled them with a good spoonful of the chilli, put some grated red Leicester cheese over the top, and I've just browned them under the grill, or put them under the grill for a couple of minutes to let the cheese get melty. And we're going to have those with some more of the chilli just on the side. So it's a bit like kind of enchiladas, burritos, but using a pancake instead of a tortilla. Again, this is something... stuffed and filled pancakes was something I used to have as a little girl with different fillings in. We didn't just have them, we only had them as a sweet, as a dessert on pancake day. We would never have pancakes on any other day. So Caleb and I sometimes have pancakes for breakfast and things like that. We would never have done that, but we did used to have them filled as a savoury item occasionally. So yeah, looking forward to these. It's chilli filled pancakes topped with grated cheese. Hi everybody, so it's Friday evening and tonight we've got split dinner. So Tony and Caleb have barbecue pork loin with some sweet corn rice, and Caleb's got a little bit of cheese on his rice because he likes cheese on rice. So that's his. Before I move over to mine, I absolutely know that mine will not be everybody's cup of tea. It's one of those things that people either love it or hate it. I've always loved it since I was a little girl, and I like it a few different ways. But this is a way that my mum used to cook it when we were young. It's one of the only dishes we used to have that had spice in it, and it's got curry powder in it. But I have got a liver special. So again, not very picturesque, but it's lamb's liver, which is just thinly sliced and then into strips and then coated in flour, which is seasoned with a little bit. So 50 grams of flour seasoned with about half a teaspoon of curry powder. I then cooked the lamb's liver in some butter for 2 or 3 minutes, and then I added a sliced onion and a chopped green pepper and let it cook for another 2 or 3 minutes, and then stirred through some milk to make a whitish sauce. And then once that had thickened up a little bit, I added a chopped sliced eating apple and a small can of sweet corn. So for me, this is absolutely delicious, but boys don't like it. Caleb has said he does like liver, so perhaps I'll make an ordinary, like a liver and bacon casserole, braised liver, something like that next time, and try him with it. But I loved it when I was a little girl, strangely. There was a lot of things I didn't eat, but liver I did. So I'm off to enjoy my Friday night liver special. The boys are off to enjoy some pork steaks, barbecue pork steaks with rice and corn. And yeah, that's a work week done, a strange work week. Looking forward to the weekend. The weather is supposed to be nice, but obviously nobody can go anywhere other than your back garden or for a little walk. So, but hopefully with the nice weather we can get out into the garden, do a bit of tidying up out there, get some washing done, all that sort of stuff. So off to enjoy our Friday night supper. Hi everybody, so for Saturday night tea I've made a really quick and simple chilli. Now for those that are regulars on our channel, you will know that Caleb absolutely hates beans of any description. So I put sweet corn in it just as a change. Sometimes I would take his portion out and then put some beans through the rest of it, but we have had beans with a couple of other meals this week, so I've just used corn instead. This is just a package of mince, cooked for about 5 to 10 minutes until it was browned through. I added a chopped onion, and then once that was softened I added a teaspoon of cumin and then half a teaspoon each of paprika, smoked paprika, chili powder, garlic granules and black pepper, and just a little sprinkle of salt. And then I added to it a can of chopped tomatoes and a carton of passata. You could add 2 chopped tomatoes, 2 cans of chopped tomatoes. You could just do one of the big jars of passata by itself if you didn't want any chunks of tomato in it at all. And let that cook. I covered the pan and let it cook for about 5 minutes, and then just stirred through some sweet corn, and just let it heat through while I was heating up the rice. So to go with that, we have over here an assortment of things. We've got some microwave rice, we've got some tortilla chips, we've got sour cream, and we've got grated cheese. So combination, each person can plate up the way that they want it, but quite a simple chilli for a Saturday night supper. Hi everybody, so it's Sunday evening and we're ending our week with a simple roast chicken dinner. So this is a whole chicken that I've had cooking in the crock pot all day, or since lunchtime. It's just falling apart. Actually, I was just saying I went to take one of the drumsticks off and just the whole bone of the drumstick came out completely cleanly and left all the meat behind. So that shows how fall apart cooked it is. We've got mashed potatoes and steamed vegetables, so I've just kept it really simple this week, with some chicken gravy just poured over everything. So that's Caleb's and that is mine. So off to enjoy this. Thank you for joining us for this week of meals. We hope you're all staying well, staying safe and staying home if that's what's required where you live. And we look forward to seeing you back here on the Seesaw soon.